Daughter Disney podcast. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And today we are going to go over some princess things to do in Disney World. So we're going to talk about restaurants, meet and greets, shows, and rides as of September, October 2025, because of course things are ever changing. So this episode kind of came about because one of my cousins is visiting Disney World soon with his daughters. And so he asked me, it's like, my daughters are really into the princesses, like what are princess things to do? And so I came up with this huge list, and then I realized it was a bit extensive to send to him. So I sent a summary to him. So starting first off with the restaurants, because I would say overall, I would say the restaurants is one of the easiest ways to meet and greet characters.
Yeah, because
sure.
you're eating and you're hanging out and you're relaxing while they're coming by.
Yeah, and also as well, you kind of had the two birds with one stone, right? Because if you do a meet and greet line, you're spending time online, like whether that's like 20, 30, 60 minutes. Yeah. Whereas if you're a restaurant, then it's like, well, you have to eat anyway. So you might as well meet some characters when you're eating. So for all of the character dining, the characters are always rotating. So especially for the princess dining, for a lot of the other face characters, so if you're meeting like Mickey or Minnie or the other characters, usually they are kind of a bit more set, I would say. So like for instance at Ohana, you're always going to meet Mickey, Stitch, and
sometimes
Lilo.
They interchange the princesses.
Yes, whereas the princesses are almost always rotating. And like some of the princesses will always be staples, but sometimes some of the other ones will rotate. So just to say that these are the full lists, but you're not going to be 100% guaranteed to meet every single princess on these lists. And that goes for all of these restaurants, right? And that's just kind of the way Disney goes. And so sometimes you do end up meeting all of them, and sometimes you end up meeting, maybe one or two are missing. So I'd say if you have like your top princess that you have to meet, I would definitely try to, do a meet and greet line, honestly, for that one.
Because then you're guaranteed to see that
Exactly.
princess.
So, but yeah, for the most part though, you're at least guaranteed to meet at minimum 3, but most people meet like 4 to 6, I would say. So it kind of depends. And so the first absolute, I would say, must do for princess restaurants is the Akershus Royal Banquet Hall. This is in Epcot in the Norway Pavilion. So they do breakfast and dinner style, or breakfast, lunch, and dinner buffet style food, and it's around $70 a person for adults. So they usually have on rotation Ariel, Belle, Aurora, Snow White, and Tiana. But the people have also met Cinderella, Jasmine, Mulan, and Rapunzel here. And most people say they meet at least 4 to 5 princesses. So there's a lot of princesses on rotation here that you have the chance to meet. And because of that, I would say this is one of the top places to probably go because you get to meet so many princesses. People say the food's pretty good. It does have the Norway style to the food, of course. But I mean, like for kids, especially for breakfast, I would say breakfast
is always easier.
It's always easier in the sense because no matter what, they're still going to have American style breakfast there.
So have French toast and
like if you have a picky eater, it's like your picky eaters probably have something to eat, whether it's like a waffle or a pancake or something. And I would say when I looked at the lunch and dinner menu, again, it doesn't have that Norway flair to it, so that Scandinavian flair. But again, for kids at least, they're always going to have some staples for kids to eat something, especially too since this is obviously a character meet and greet. So it's like they kind of know people coming to meet the characters. Kids are more interested in
seeing what's going on than they are of eating most of the time when they're young anyway.
For sure, but it does get a very high review, I would say. So, all right, the next princess restaurant to recommend is the Cinderella's Royal Table. This is in Magic Kingdom. They also do breakfast, lunch, and dinner buffet style, and this is around $88 per person for adults.
That used to be a sit-down dinner.
Yes, now it's all buffet style. And so everyone here does get to meet Cinderella. So when you first enter into your meal, Cinderella is going to greet you when you enter. So everyone gets a photo with Cinderella when you first enter. So that's great. Obviously makes sense. You're at Cinderella's Royal Table. You must meet Cinderella. So other than Cinderella though, all the other princesses that will come around when you're eating are also rotating, of course. So the rotating princesses are Ariel, Aurora, Jasmine, Merida, Snow White, and Tiana. So again, I would say most people meet 4 to 5 princesses here, not including Cinderella necessarily, but so it just kind of depends, I would say, as well. All right, so the next one we have here is 1900 Park Fair. This is at the Grand Floridian for breakfast and dinner buffet style, and this is $60 per person. So if you're looking for the more budget-friendly one, this is the lowest priced one. Here you have on rotation Aladdin, Cinderella, Mirabelle, and Tiana. So not as many characters as the other two, so that's why this one's kind of ranked a little bit lower, but again, it is a little bit more budget-friendly, and I have heard the food here is very good. So I would say apparently this is some of the best.
Well, the food at the Grand Floridian in most of their restaurants is good, so I would think that one probably also.
For sure. All right, so then the last 2 places I wanted to note as well. So at Wilderness Lodge for dinner only for $70 per person, there is Storybook Dining at Artist Point. So here you will only meet Snow White, but you will also meet the 7 dwarves. So I just wanted to call this out because if you're a big Snow White fan, this is probably the place to go for Snow White and the 7 dwarves. So again, you only meet Snow White, but apparently the 7 dwarves will also make their rounds too. Looked really interesting. And again, dinner only here. And last but not least, I just wanted to call out that if you want to go to Be Our Guest restaurant to try to meet Belle, you do not meet Belle at Be Our Guest restaurant in Magic Kingdom. It's a little bit confusing because Be Our Guest restaurant, you are at the Beast Castle. So you will usually meet the Beast when you first enter. Same with Cinderella's Royal Table when you meet Cinderella when you first enter. So the Beast will, greet greet you into his restaurant. Sorry if you can hear my cat. She's upset because I turned her water fountain off, so she's a little confused.
So we wouldn't have noise.
Call her off so that way we don't have to hear her sadness. I promise she's not depraved. She's fine.
She just doesn't like change.
Yeah, she's just confused is all because
Yes.
I've never turned the water fountain off before. But anyway, though, so when you get to Be Our Guest restaurant, the Beast will usually greet you, and the Beast will also walk around periodically too, and they'll usually make a little announcement as he's walking around, and you can take photos with him. But just to say that Belle is not always here. Sometimes she is, especially for dinner, but she's not guaranteed to be seen. So if you're going to Be Our Guest
You're gonna
restaurant to
spend
try
that
to
money,
meet
you
Belle,
want to be guaranteed to see a princess.
yeah, like if you're going to Be Our Guest restaurant just to meet Belle, you are not going to meet Belle here. And that's also something really big to point out too, that if you've noticed for these other restaurants, Belle is not on any of these lists.
Oh, yeah.
There's only
how come?
one spot to meet and greet Belle, and that is in Magic Kingdom, and that is at the Enchanted Tales with Belle interactive,
wow. Okay.
interactive show, I would say.
Okay.
So that is the only place you are guaranteed to meet Belle. You can also meet Belle too in Epcot as well in the France Pavilion, but again, she kind of walks around a little bit, and again, it's just not necessarily guaranteed. So the main guaranteed way if you have the big Belle fan in your family is to go to the Enchanted Tales with Belle, and again, it's like a mini interactive show, I would say, and you can participate in the show too. Kids and adults can also participate too. They'll ask for volunteers, and again, this is your main way to meet Belle. And again, you can also meet Belle in Epcot too, but again, it's like there when we get to Epcot, I'll kind of go through it how you can meet Belle there. So all right, so that is the main few restaurants. So now let's go to where princesses are by park. So let's start with Magic Kingdom, of course. So at Magic Kingdom, the main obvious spot is the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. When you arrive to the Princess Fairy Tale Hall, there are going to be two lines when you arrive. One is for Cinderella and a second princess, and then there's a secondary line for Tiana and a second princess. Now, the second princess that you meet is going to, again, be on rotation. So for the most part, that second princess will stay the same for a long period of time, like a couple months, honestly, and then they'll rotate the princess out. But just to note that it's like, again, when you get there, you'll see on the line before you get in the line who the two princesses you're going to meet are. Now, that does mean, so right now, for instance, the princesses in one line is Cinderella and Elena, and the other line is Tiana and Rapunzel.
It's amazing though that Tiana and Cinderella though are always there.
Yes, so they're the standing princesses for the time being. Yes, so I mean, like I think Cinderella's always standing. I'm sure in the past Tiana may have switched out, but I'm not sure who it was. I think for a short period of time it was Elsa, but I think Elsa switched out. But anyway, though, so again, it's always the two lines. That means if you want to meet like Cinderella and Tiana, for instance, you do have to wait on the two lines 2 times. So that is a lot of waiting, I would say. You can get Lightning Lane for this, but just note you can only get Lightning Lane once for this. So if you get Lightning Lane and you pick Cinderella and Elena's line, you'll then have to do standby for Tiana and Rapunzel's line. So just to note that. All right, up next at Magic Kingdom, we have Ariel at her grotto. You can also get a Lightning Lane for this. Also to note too, this is the redheaded Ariel from the animated movie. And this is also the only spot in all of the parks that you can meet Ariel with her mermaid tail. So every other time, like for instance, in the restaurants, when I mentioned Ariel as a rotating princess, she's going to be in her light blue dress, like her human dress, I would say.
Human dress, right.
So if you want to meet Ariel in her mermaid tail, this is the only spot to meet Ariel in her mermaid tail out of all of the parks. So, and then again, just to note that because it is kind of exciting. I have actually done this line before where you meet her in her mermaid tail, and it is very fun. It's very cute. So would definitely suggest that. We already talked about Enchanted Tales with Belle. So again, that's in Magic Kingdom too. So up next, we also have Jasmine and Aladdin that you can meet and greet by the Magic Carpet Ride in Adventureland. So they will have times posted outside of their meet and greet spot. If you're facing the front of the Magic Carpets where the sign for it is, their meet and greet is to the right, sort of by where the shops are. And if there is no sign, you can always just ask a cast member when Jasmine and Aladdin will be out. They usually do their meet and greet together. I think every once in a while, Aladdin will do a meet and greet alone. I would assume if Jasmine's just unavailable to come out at that time. But Aladdin's almost always there, and usually it's always the two of them. So you will get to meet and greet both of them if you go there. And again, they don't necessarily have like set hours or set lines is the thing. So you're going to find a lot of meet and greet characters aren't going to have set lines and set things, right? You just kind of just have to like go wander and, figure it out in the moment. So, all right, up next we have princesses who do their meet and greets by the Cheshire Cafe. This is to the right of the castle. So there's this little area. It does actually have a name, I realize, but I'm forgetting what the name is. I didn't write it down, unfortunately. But there's a little area that usually Merida and Rapunzel will do meet and greets over here. I think recently also Mirabelle has been doing meet and greets over here. So it kind of, again, is a little rotating. And usually there will be a sign outside posted to say which princess is meeting there and what times they're also going to do. But again, this can also change day by day too. But again, another big princess meet and greet spot. There's also the gazebo by the Christmas shop. So if you're by the Christmas shop in Liberty Square, there's this white gazebo. This is to the left of the castle, right before you get like walk into Liberty Square. So way back when, Tiana used to do her meet and greets here before she joined the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. But they still do a lot of different like random meet and greets. So for instance, I usually see Chip and Dale here actually.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to know that there's a lot of random characters, and in my personal opinion, I think this is actually a practice spot for characters to do meet and greets. I don't know if it's necessarily official. So I think a lot of, you know, new characters will come out and just practice here just for an unofficial, I would say, moment. So I've seen a lot of random characters here from time to time. The Chip and Dale are often here too, but I have seen Tiana here multiple times as well. So that's a good spot also to meet Tiana. All right, so also within Magic Kingdom, we have the shows in front of the castle, of course. So throughout the day, there will be various stage shows in front of the castle, in front of Cinderella's castle, where many of the princesses and princesses will perform. So they usually do a whole show. They usually will sing and dance, and you'll see all of them interact with each other. It's very cute. And the day of, I would suggest getting the timesheet because, again, sometimes these times slightly change due to like when the fireworks or the parades are.
Oh, what the timing is, yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely say just get the timesheet to know exactly when these stage shows will be happening. Of course, we also have the Festival of Fantasy Parade. This is the daytime parade. A lot of princesses will be in this parade too.
Right on the floats.
It happens at least once during the day, but sometimes in the busier seasons, they will happen twice during the day. And again, just check the times of the day up to know exactly when that Festival of Fantasy Parade is coming down. I would definitely suggest this parade because you get to see a lot of the princesses like on their own themed floats, and some of them will also walk around on the ground too. You can't take photos of them, of course, but it's exciting to see them in the moment, and they usually wave and say hi to you. All right, we also have the Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away evening parade. So many princesses are also in this parade too. This is a brand new parade as of August 2025. It looks really fun, though I will admit I have not seen it yet, so I don't actually know too much in depth because I try to avoid videos so I can see it for myself in person one day. And last but not least, in Magic Kingdom, we have, of course, the Bippity Boppity Boutique. So I wanted to note this. I will say my cousin's kids are actually too young for this because the age range is 3 to 12.
Okay.
So you don't meet any princesses here, of course, but you know, girls and boys can get the full experience of becoming a princess. It is very hard to get a reservation for this right now because at the moment the Bippity Boppity Boutique is only in Magic Kingdom. So they used to have locations in Disney Springs and in the Grand Floridian, but for the time being, those two places are closed, I think, for renovations. So it's only in Magic Kingdom. So to get a reservation is very difficult. I would honestly suggest working maybe with a travel agency or something to try to get that reservation if you really want to do the Bippity Boppity Boutique. So the lowest price that comes with a dress to do Bippity Boppity Boutique is $200, and it can go up to $450 if you want the signature princess dress and all of the accessories. Now, when you look at the packages of what it includes, it does include a lot, all things considered. But I would note if that, again, if your child or someone in your family has a very specific princess in mind that they want to do, I would check to make sure that you look at which dresses are included in each package. Because, for instance, the lowest price dress at $200, not all of the princesses are going to have one of the lowest price dresses. Some of them will only be in the signature princess dresses.
They have more elaborate costumes.
Yeah. I would also check too, because even across all the Bippity Boppity boutiques that there are in the world, so to speak, not everyone is going to have the same dresses as well. So for instance, on the Disney cruise lines, in some of the Disney cruise lines, there are exclusive princess dresses just to those Disney cruise lines. So I would just check to make sure that you don't spend all this money and then your kid wants a certain princess, and then the Bippity Boppity boutique doesn't offer that princess dress because it's exclusive to like a different boutique is all. So just something to check, but again, something that I think looks really fun, and I've seen obviously lots of little girls do it before. Little girls and little boys, of course, anyone can do it. And so here's something to note. Looks fun to do. All right, let's go over to Epcot now. So at Epcot, so we already talked about the restaurant here, but also in Epcot we have the Royal Summer House. This is where you can meet Anna and Elsa, and this is their formal meet and greet for, this is the only formal meet and greet for princesses in Epcot. So here, this is the only formal line that you'll get into, the only formal where you can get a lightning lane to meet Anna and Elsa. So formal line, you can meet them both here. And also note too, of course, if you go in Frozen Ever After, you'll see their animatronics, of course, in Frozen Ever After too. And I also want to note too that for all of the other princesses in Epcot, there is no formal meet and greet lines. You will just have to go to the pavilion in the World Showcase and just look for the times posted. Sometimes the times will not be posted. It will just depend. They just show up. They really do just show up and they just like pop outside. So it really will depend. All right, so first up, before we even get into the World Showcase, actually, we have Moana outside of the Journey of Water attraction. So if you're facing the attraction, her meet and greet is covered to the left of the attraction. I would note that Moana is not actually in the walkthrough attraction at all. There is a topiary of Te Fiti, which is the nature goddess in the movie, but that's about it. And if you walk through the attraction, it's all about the water cycle, but Moana herself isn't, there's no like statue of Moana in there or anything. If you want to meet and greet Moana, it's going to be outside the attraction, and they usually do have times posted to meet and greet Moana for this one for sure. All right, up next in Morocco, you can meet Jasmine. So you can meet Jasmine. I think Aladdin's often here too. If you're facing the pavilion, she normally does her meet and greet to the left of the pavilion. It's like a lot of these is just like by a wall. I don't really know how to describe it because it's very visual, I would say. Right outside, right. Yeah, but it's right outside the pavilion, usually to the left of the pavilion. Pavilion. Again, this one usually does have times posted as well for Aladdin and Jasmine so that you can meet the two of them. In China, you can meet Mulan. Often there's also times posted outside this pavilion too to also meet Mulan. I would note that depending upon the weather, sometimes Mulan will do her meet and greet inside of the round building when you're there.
We've seen her in there and you've met her outside.
Yeah, and sometimes she'll do it in the garden. So hers kind of depends just, I would say, on the day. So in France, if you're facing the pavilion, there is this little alcove to the right, right before you start walking back to Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. And here you can either meet Aurora or Belle. So I've seen Aurora do many meet and greets here. Usually she'll be in her pink dress. And you can also meet Belle here. So again, there's only a few spots you can meet Belle in all of Disney World. So again, you have Enchanted Tales with Belle, and then here in Epcot. Now here in Epcot, Belle will be in her blue dress. That's a big note because it's the only spot you can meet Belle in her blue dress, like her little library dress.
Gown, right?
Yeah, from the beginning. So you can meet Belle here in France. And often Belle will walk around too a little bit as well, which is kind of cool because she'll walk around with like her book. It's very cute actually. So, all right, in Germany, you can meet Snow White. So if you're facing the pavilion, she usually does her meet and greet again to the wall to the left of the pavilion. A lot of this is to the left of the pavilion, I'm noticing.
Right, I think it's to the left.
So Snow White will be there. She often does have times posted as well. In France, there's often not times posted because I think they switch between Aurora and Belle on a regular basis. So you're not always sure who you're going to get. And some of these other ones is a bit more of a staple. But all right, and then last but not least, in the UK pavilion. The UK pavilion is going to have a lot of rotating characters, so they won't say which character is coming out that day, and there's usually no times either. And actually, none of these are technically princesses, but I just want to shout it out. In the UK pavilion, you can meet Mary Poppins, Alice, and Tinkerbell. So again, they usually rotate. You're not going to meet all three in one day, that's for sure. So normally it'll be like maybe one per day or something like that. And it really is just based on luck who is going to be out that day and who you're going to be able to meet. And they usually do their meet and greet in the tea garden. So if you're walking down the hill from the International Gateway, it's going to be sort of in the tea garden. Or if you're facing the pavilion, it's going to be to the left of the pavilion. So, all right, so that is Epcot. Now let's move on to Disney's Hollywood Studios. There aren't actually many formal meet and greets for princesses in this park, but we do have 2 stage shows. The first is the Beauty and the Beast live on stage. This is a shortened version of the movie where they sing and dance on stage. So if you go to Tower of Terror, it's like to the right of the Tower of Terror. I would definitely suggest this. This is such a fun show.
It is.
Again,
it's
especially
very nice
if you're a
show.
Belle fan. You don't meet and greet any of the characters here, but it's a really great show.
But it's
honestly.
really a stage show. They're actually out there doing it.
Yeah, a stage show. They're in the Disney animated costumes as well, so it's not like interpretations of the costumes. It's very like Disney animated film, I would say, true to form in that sense. And it's very fun, and they sing all the songs, all the main songs.
It's what the kids
sing.
are used to, so
For sure.
Yeah.
Up next, we have The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure. This is a recently updated show. I've heard very good reviews on this show as well. So this show, again, is also a stage show as well. It's indoors too, which is a great thing to note as well. And it's going to go through the whole movie, basically, of The Little Mermaid. So from when she's a mermaid, and then, she turns to a human, goes back to a mermaid, turns back into human, right? So there's another spot you can see Ariel as a mermaid, but of course, there's no meet and greets, of course, because it's just a stage show. So, and the last major show here is for the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration. So again, another stage show. So this one isn't necessarily taking you through the story of Frozen. It's more of a sing-along. So Olaf will come out and say, hey, remember when this happened? And they'll sing all the songs kind of like recap, like with themselves and you recapping the story, but it's not at like the Beauty and the Beast and the Little Mermaid where it's actually full on telling you the story. So, and this is also, everyone's encouraged really to sing along. And this is really meant to be, I would say, for families and kids to sing along during this. The other 2 shows, I'd say, it's not necessarily encouraged to sing along. Now, if you do, I'm sure no one would really say anything because it's a kids park. Yeah. So again, I don't think it'd be a big deal if you were singing along, but for the Frozen one, it's like it's encouraged everyone sings along with you.
Everybody.
And I've heard this Frozen one is amazing. I've heard the characters in it sing so beautifully. Everyone says it. It's quite a fun show. All right, so some other shows we have here too is Fantasmic, of course. So this is the big nighttime show here, and many of the princesses will of course be featured in Fantasmic. And then not necessarily Disney or princess related, but I've heard that the Disney Junior Play and Dance is really fun for kids. So not necessarily any princesses are going to be here, but I've heard this is one of the most fun things you can do with your kids. And I've heard a lot of kids say, like, as they've grown up, to say that's like some of their core memories is doing the Disney Junior Play and Dance. So just wanted to shout that out. And last but not least, here in Hollywood Studios, according to the Disney website, you can still meet Ariel from the live action movie. So if you've seen the live action Ariel or Little Mermaid, you can meet Ariel here. And that's on the website. Now, I think this is outdated on the website because I'm pretty sure this has switched now to Edna Mode from The Incredibles, this meet and greet. So I don't actually know if the live action Ariel is still available to meet and greet in this area, but according to the website, she still is. So I definitely check to see if you wanted to meet the live action Ariel, if that's important.
There's somebody
then,
in the park.
Yeah, so then definitely go and check it out here or ask someone. Alrighty, so now we are to our 4th and final park, Disney's Animal Kingdom Park. So the main princess meet and greet here at Disney's Animal Kingdom is at Character Landing, and this is where you can meet Moana. So Moana does have a formal meet and greet here, and Character Landing is kind of on Discovery Island, sort of like right by the Tree of Life. It's kind of hard to describe. It's like sort of, I think, to the right of the tree of life, sort of. So, all right. So, and that is the only thing. That's the only princess here in Disney's Animal Kingdom. So you'd think you could meet Pocahontas in this park, but Pocahontas has no formal meet and greet in this park.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is purely luck if you just happen to see her, if I'm being honest. So during the COVID times when they used to do the cavalcades on the water, Pocahontas and Miko used to be out a lot on those cavalcades, just like on the water. But she does not have a formal meet and greet, so I would not go to Animal Kingdom to try to meet Pocahontas because it's definitely not going to be guaranteed. I mean, again, it's pure luck if you're going to have a chance to meet her or a chance to meet Miko as well, which is the raccoon from Pocahontas. So yeah, so it's pure luck if you're going to meet them. And if I'm being honest, I would say Animal Kingdom is not the park for princesses.
No, Animal Kingdom, the animals are the stars, not the princesses.
It's like these are the only two, right? Because we don't really we don't really have like a princess that animal. Like the main princess animal would be from the Lion King, of course, which you can meet a lot of the Lion King. There's a lot of Lion King stuff within Animal Kingdom. But other than that, so Moana has a meet and greet, but again, you can meet Moana and Epcot if you really want to. And again, you're not guaranteed to meet Pocahontas, so I wouldn't necessarily go to Animal Kingdom just to meet Pocahontas. It would just be by chance if you do. So all right, so I would say that is all of the current princess things to do within the parks right now. So I would say if I was giving advice on like what I would suggest to do, of course, is consider whoever your favorite princess is. So if your favorite princess is Mulan, or if your favorite princess is Belle, to plan your vacation around trying to meet those princesses as many times as you want, or at least just once in a really good way, especially by doing those meet and greet lines. Now, I would also, honestly, I would just suggest doing the Arcach's Royal Banquet Hall because you meet the most princesses and and you save the most time in that sense too. They didn't have those
when you were little.
Mm-hmm. So I thought about that too. So I was going to say I didn't think they did. So I think back in the day, and also now too, a lot of the princesses have like formal meet and greets. I feel like back in the day they didn't even have that either. They just came out.
Yeah, they were around, but there wasn't like formal lines.
Yeah, I was going to say I feel like they just came out.
And it wasn't that easy to meet a princess. Like go meet a princess. You could meet Mickey and Minnie.
Yeah.
But you couldn't. I know that one of Nikki loved your cousin Nikki loved Donald Duck, and trying to find Donald Duck in a meet and greet used to kill Aunt Antoinette because they could never find him.
Yeah.
He now is outside Mexico, but for a while there you couldn't even find him. It was very rare for him to be around. You really only saw Mickey and Minnie.
Yeah, but my recommendations would be the Arcach's Royal Banquet Hall, and then prioritizing whichever other line of your favorite princess.
Right.
So for me, my favorite princesses is Mulan and Cinderella. So I would possibly meet both of them at Arcach's Royal Banquet Hall. But I would probably go there, meet a lot of the princesses. I would definitely meet Mulan then in the China Pavilion. And I honestly would probably just do the Princess Fairy Tale Hall to meet Cinderella in her meet and greet line. Because when you do that, you do get a little bit more time with the princesses in their meet and greet lines. You have a little bit more time to talk to them.
They'll take the time to talk to you. They won't rush you out.
Yeah, not that during the restaurants they'll rush you during the restaurants, but it kind of depends. And I've heard too that people who go to, especially these are all buffet style, right, are if you're getting food and you leave the table to go get food, and that's when the princess comes to your table, or for any character, even if it's the other characters, any character comes to your table and you miss them, they may not come back around in that rotation, right? So you may have just missed meeting one of the characters and you paid all this money maybe to meet a certain character and you were getting food at the buffet.
Right.
So I would just note that it's like, it's one of those things that's a bit tricky, that if you can have one family member go up and get some food maybe, and then have at least keep the kids something type
until
of thing
they see
at the table.
their person, then you can.
Yeah, like you want to try to plan it, and usually like when you look around the room, you can kind of tell the order of like when the characters are coming, so you can try to plan it accordingly too. Or if there's one character that you don't really care about meeting, it's like, all right, maybe now it's time to go to the bathroom or get more food or something like that. But just to note that it's like you can miss characters, and I have heard people saying that they missed a character and they thought the character would come back, and they do not come back. So that just means you just missed the character because you just weren't at the table. So that's really important to highlight. So, but all right, so yeah, so that's kind of what I would do for all the princesses. This was actually really fun to do, so I may do this for the meet and greets for the non-princess characters too, so like the Fab Five characters, because there is a lot of ways you can meet and greet a lot of these characters in a lot of unique ways. And I'd even call out the fact that in theory you can meet a lot of the princesses during the Run Disney races actually. I didn't put that in here because that's something you can do on a daily basis. But just to say, it's like if you do a Run Disney race, you can meet a lot of the characters actually during Run Disney races. So they often will have lots of meet and greets during that, especially during the Princess Half Marathon. So that was a great way to get on some meet and greet lines too. But alrighty, so that is the main section for this podcast today. So now normally we have some Disney news. I'll be honest, I forgot to pull the Disney news. So I just realized I'm looking through my notes. I didn't pull any Disney news. I totally forgot to do that. I will do that before our next episode. No Disney news because I didn't pull anything. So that's my bad. So
it's been a crazy time.
Yeah, I've been a little sick recently too.
Yes.
So all right. So instead we'll just do some Disney birthdays. First up for Disney birthdays on October 17th is Julita, Pepe, and Bruno Magdigal's birthday. So happy birthday to our three from Encanto, our triplets. And then also on October 16th is my Uncle Brendan's birthday. So happy birthday to my Uncle Brendan. And then last but not least is our Disney memory. Do you have a Disney memory for today's podcast?
I think the Disney memory when you're talking about meet and greets when you met Mulan. Like I still see the picture of you standing there with Mulan. You were older. You were a teenager.
I was in high school. school. Yeah.
Yeah, you were in high school. But you did stop. She was outside the China Pavilion, and she took a long time to talk to you and spend time with you. And I have to admit, it wasn't like, oh, hi, take the picture, have a nice day. It was a very nice interaction.
Yeah, my main memory of meet and greeting characters is when I was really little in Epcot, because I remember they used to come out and they just used to stand in front of that fountain that Epcot used to have. It's like you would just get on the line in front of the character and then they would just cut off the line eventually.
Yeah, eventually they'd just say, no more.
We're done.
Right.
And we used to say too, it's like sometimes it was real hot in the summer, right? It's like, wow, these characters are, especially the face characters, it's like, wow, they're just standing in this like this heavy heat, you know? And now it's, of course, now they all have like little indoor spaces that they can meet, you know.
Well, like I said, there were no
too.
princesses back then. It was always Minnie or Mickey. And we do have a picture of you with Minnie in front of Japan, with Minnie dressed all in a Japan, one of those Japan outfits, Japanese outfits. And they just used to walk around dressed like that and stop and say hello and whatever. There was no princesses. It was just, well, a lot of princesses were born after you were born. You know, they all came through.
Well, yeah, they weren't as popular
Yes.
to a certain extent.
Yes, a lot of those princesses started.
So I guess the May ones would have been the ones from the Renaissance era. So that would have been like Cinderella and Aurora.
Yes,
Snow
right,
White,
those.
so.
But, you know, all the other new ones, you know, they weren't around when you were little. So it's a different ball game now.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I think too now, again, it's like with capitalism, of course, it's like Disney can capitalize on the princesses a bit more. So of course, if you're watching Encanto at home, well, Mirabelle's not a princess, I realize. If you're watching Encanto at home, it's like, oh, you're going to want to meet Mirabelle in person. Like, how exciting is that going to be? If you're watching Moana at home, it's like, well, how exciting it is to meet Moana then in person. So it's like it's providing that full experience in that sense. So, but yeah, no, for sure. All right, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're watching. Make sure you follow us on social media, Almost Amanda X. I'll have it all linked in the description. And if you're planning your next Princess Disney trip, let me know, and let me know any other questions you may have. I can definitely try to help out. I'm not a Disney travel agent, but I mean, like, I can give the tips that I have as a fellow Disney goer. So, all right, everyone, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.